Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and I can be reached at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. If you're trying to buy a home at a reasonable price, or if you're trying to sell your home in a reasonable time, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to advise you. Two things before we begin. First, make sure you check the date on this show. We produce a weekly update every Monday. Make sure you're getting the most recent information. Secondly, all this information is drawn from the multiple listing service, does not include any properties on the village's own internal VLS system. So let's begin. We start by taking a look at 10-year government bond yields. This is the rate that most closely tracks the mortgage rate, gives us some idea as to what has happened with mortgage rates in the past. Looking at this, you can see that rates have moved from less than 0.5% 3 years ago to 3.5% today. Looking at this graph, it seems like it's anybody's guess as to whether interest rates will head higher from here or lower. This week, there's both good news and bad news in the Villages real estate market update. So let's get to it. We're going to start by looking at total listings, which dipped very slightly this week. We had reached a high of 363 total listings a month ago. We're down now to 345 total listings, a small improvement. Here we look at these listings in more detail, broken down by price segment. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, this week there are 222 properties for sale. Last week there were 221. The week before that, 216. The week before that, 208, and the week before that, 211. This graph is probably the most concerning of all the graphs we're going to look at this week. It shows the median listing price per square foot for all listings, currently $261.01, down almost $3 a square foot from the median listing price last week, and down dramatically from the high of $283.23 that we reached at the end of May of last year. Here we can see how long homes are staying on the market. 43 days is the median time on the market for all listings, up from a median time of 38 days last week. Distressing a little bit to see this number turn around after having fallen for what seems like every week this year. Here's our look at new listings and pending home sales, trying to get some idea every week as to how many properties are entering and leaving the market. Last week, 42 new listings entered the market compared to 48 the previous 7 days. Number of homes that went pending, 49 compared to the 46 that went pending the previous 7 days. As you look at this graph, you'll see the blue bars representing new listings and the orange bars representing pending home sales. It is encouraging seeing pending home sales trending higher, virtually uninterrupted since the beginning of the year. Here's a closer look at the new listings. The last 7 days saw 42 new listings. Previous 7 days saw 48. New listings ranged in price from just under 249,000 to just under a million. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, last week saw 28 new listings. Previous 7 days 36. Previous 7 days 35. Previous 7 days 27, and the 7 days prior to that 26. Here we take a closer look at the pending home sales and what the median price per square foot was. As I mentioned, there were 49 homes that went pending. Price per square foot on the homes that went pending over the last 7 days is $255.90, down from $266.59 the previous 7 days. Since August, we've seemed to remain fairly bound between $245 and $265 a square foot. Just by the by, of the 49 homes that went pending last week, you can see drone footage of 10 of them if you look back on previous videos over the last week on this channel. The median time on the market for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days was 27 days on the market, down from the 31 days that was in effect for the previous 7 days. Slightly more enthusiasm in the marketplace for some properties. So let's turn our attention now to the properties that sold and closed over the last 7 days. They numbered 34. Previous 7 days saw 31. Properties ranged in price from $255,000 to $975,000. And it does look as if the number of properties sold has slowly, gradually been increasing since the beginning of the year. Here's a more in-depth look at the properties that sold over the last 7 days, broken down by price segment. Most active price segment, the three to $500,000 range. Last 7 days, there were 23 homes that sold. Previous 7 days, 21. Previous 22. 7 days prior to that, also 22, and the 7 days prior to that, 15. Here we look at the price per square foot realized on the homes that sold over the last 7 days, down dramatically this week to $233 a square foot from $251 a square foot last week. It had seemed that 240 to 250 was going to be the range for properties that sold. We are close to the lowest numbers that we've seen in this series over the last year. This graph shows us how long properties that closed over the last 7 days were on the market. 24 and a half days, down from the 28 days that we saw the week before. We are down dramatically from close to 60 days that we saw at the beginning of the year, but once again, it's taking almost 3 times longer for homes to sell than it did a year ago. This shows us how many properties on the MLS have had to reduce their asking price from the original list price. This week it's 53.33%, up from the 52.87% that we saw last week. It's distressing to see this number rise again after falling for several weeks. And here we look at what the decrease actually has been. The median decrease for all properties currently listed is a decrease of 4.78% from the original listing price. Once again, it's discouraging to see that more homeowners are having to reduce their asking price and that the percentage by which they're having to reduce their asking price is increasing once again. Here we look at a summary of enthusiasm in the real estate market. What you're looking at here is sales, homes that went pending, and homes that have been listed for more than 100 days. Of the 34 sales, 9 went pending in 7 days or less, which is 26%, a quarter of all properties. Of the homes that went pending in the last 7 days, 15 out of the 49 that went pending were on the market for 7 days or less, which is almost a third, up from a quarter the previous week. Once again, I'll point you to our video series, drone footage of new listings of 2 weeks ago, where you can see drone footage of many of these homes that went pending. And finally, if we look at listings that have been on the market for 100 days or longer, of the 345 total listings, 63 have been on the market for 100 days or longer, which is 18%, little change from the 18% of the week before. That concludes this week's look at the Villages real estate market. If you're interested in buying a home in the Villages and are trying to get a good deal, or you're trying to sell your home and are trying to sell it within a reasonable period of time, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Also, if you have any questions about life in the Villages itself, I'll be happy to answer those as well. Hope to hear from you. Take care.